She say I'm gonna jack you up. I'm gonna give it to you nice and rough. Come and see me, baby, real close up, cause I'ma push you down, I'ma push you down. You can see me with that oscillate. To give you shiver, baby, make you shake. Just to hear you make the sounds you make, cause I'ma push you down, I'ma push you down. Ha! I'ma push you down, ha! I'ma push you down, ha! And I can see you with my eyes closed. I can see you with my eyes closed, shut. I can see you with my eyes closed. I can see you with my eyes closed, shut. She say I'm gonna jack you up. I'm gonna give it to you nice and rough. Come and see me, baby, real close up, cause I'ma push you down, I'ma push you down. She say I'll make you lose control. I got that method that can tease your soul. So give me something and I'll give you a show, cause I'ma push you down, I'ma push you down. Ha! I'ma push you down, ha! I'ma push you down, ha! And I can see you with my eyes closed. I can see you with my eyes closed, shut. I can see you with my eyes closed. I can see you with my eyes closed, shut. 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 Say I'm gonna jack you up. I'ma give it to you nice and rough. Come and see me, baby, real close up, cause I'ma push you down, I'ma push you down. She say I'm gonna jack you up. I'm gonna give it to you nice and rough. So come and see me, baby, real close up, cause I'ma push you down, I'ma push you down. Ha! I'ma push you down, ha! I'ma push you down, ha! And I can see you with my eyes closed.
Wah! Okay, cool. It's working. I hope everything is coming through clear and good. This is our first time doing it from the new location in the attic.
Yeah, I like this space a lot.
Yeah. So welcome back to Van Philosophy, you guys. It's been a while. We've taken a break for about a month, but we're back here with a mysterious, confidential, secret
Yeah. Hey Sherry.
story.
Hey Steve.
Hope you guys are doing well. Before we get into the story and the topic, what have we been up to? What have you been up to?
Well, today, and this week we've been working on we released a Patreon project already, which I guess we haven't said on a vlog, so we didn't do vlogs.
We didn't do the typical video, performance video.
We tried a lyric video this time.
Yeah.
It was fun to work on.
Yeah.
But that's out if you're on Patreon. Otherwise, it's not going to be out for a while on YouTube. But we're also working on the next one. So we were actually working on it earlier
today. Yeah.
But other than that, I noticed you have a Dark Sales t-shirt on.
Yeah, this thing's super sweet. Shout out to Dark Sales and Cody over there.
So at their studio at Maelstrom, they had some projects come in that I get to help out on.
Yeah.
So I've been kind of prepping for that. And on top of that, like I've been working on a carpentry team building a house for a friend of ours. And that's kind of...
I like the way you worded it, like a carpentry team.
Yeah, well, it's like, there's team. When you build a house, it's like
Takes a
not,
team.
Not everybody knows how to do everything.
Right.
You know, so it's like, so you need
There's like no
couple electricians,
in
couple
contractors.
plumbers, carpenters,
Yeah.
roofers, drywall guys, you know.
Right.
So I'm working with the carpenters.
Right. You're working with the carpenters, dude?
Yeah.
Dude. They're like big time.
I made it, yeah.
Yeah. That's like big time stuff. That's crazy. That's good.
What are you up to?
Enjoying Freezy Freezes, which are delicious.
That does look delicious.
It's amazing. No, I recently moved. If you're in the Patreon, you know all the deets.
All the nitty gritty details.
And been getting this stuff set up, working at the shop, getting everything going, online. Got a bunch of events and stuff. I've honestly been going pretty hard, and I was just getting over being sick. I'm making sure that I'm not gonna like start coughing or being weird during this. I'm like right on the tail end of a cold.
Yeah, when you're like, oh, so you wake up and you're like, I feel fine.
Yeah. I hope it's okay. But yeah, that's it. Besides that, I'm boring. I rewatched Evil Dead 1 and 2 the other day, which is freaking...
Oh, yeah?
I love those movies, man. You forget how much you love something, and then you go back and watch them, you're like, oh, yeah.
We rewatched a bunch of the Batmans.
Yeah.
And...
Like the goofy ones or the serious ones?
We just started with the Tim Burton ones.
Yeah.
And we made it through to Batman Begins. So there's still a few Batman, but I never realized that, like, I always thought Batman Forever was the best one when I was growing up. I thought it was...
Right.
And it's terrible.
Yeah.
It's a terrible movie.
It's terrible.
I think the Michael Keaton Batman...
Forever is the one with Robin.
Yeah. Holy Rusted Metal Batman.
Yeah. What do you mean? Oh, it's the metal.
It's all full of holes.
It's full of holes.
That was the best part of the movie.
Yeah,
that
right.
scene.
Rachel, thank you for the Swanky Studio comment. Hopefully, I hope it looks good. I hope it streams well. Yeah. We're excited to be able to use this space. So, we do have some shows coming up. We've done a couple. It's really light during the winter time.
Well, we heard this winter is going to be like extra.
Yeah, extra wintry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, there are a few shows on the books for next year, but they're not going to be announced for a while. But we do have one last show this year. We're doing an Unplugged.
Yeah.
In Shenanigans, and maybe, I don't know. Should we say? We thought about maybe doing some Christmas music.
Oh yeah. I think we're gonna do that.
And
yeah.
we might try it out.
Do some weird ass Christmas stuff, so that could be cool. Just for the holidays.
Holidays.
We did it once before with like going to the kids' schools and playing and.
That's right.
Playing for like the kids and all that.
Yeah,
It was fun.
The elementary school circuit.
Yeah, I mean, back when we were on the elementary circuit. No, because we did like Frosty the Snowman and like all the kid ones.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah,
we
learned a bunch
reindeer, some really crazy ones. Anyway, hope you guys are doing well. Please let us know what you're up to in the comments there. But let's get to our story. This thing's very suspicious. I know nothing of this story.
We were deciding like what to do for this week's topic, and I was like, well, I found this story, but I kind of don't want to tell you what it is. I kind of want to just do it and see if it tanks or see if it's good.
So if this ends up tanking, please let us know immediately in the comments section.
But I thought this was...
We are going to have to fix this shaky camera, man. That's just going to be...
It's a little shaky in here.
Yeah.
But it's okay.
It's all right.
This is like getting the... Episode 57, getting the kinks out.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Get the kinks out. Put them in. Let them out.
Leave them in.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Okay, so the details of this story, they're classified by the U.S. government for 60 years. That's like the standard. Something happens and the Central Intelligence Agency decides that, we can't release this yet. And I think this was technically before the CIA was founded, I think.
Well, that was classified for at least 100 years.
Exactly.
So...
but anyway, so they're classified, and the details of the story are pretty crazy. But for me, the very end is what I was like, what, really?
Right.
So anyway, our story is about Chichijima. It's an island. It's like 500 miles off the coast of the mainland of Japan. It was during World War II. I think we have a picture of the island.
Oh yeah.
So the Japanese. They used this island to establish a military base because it was a good place to put radio towers
That's
has,
not
like,
an island.
Has like mountainous regions in it as well.
I'm guessing there's water all the way around it. But
So they decided to put like a communications base on the island,
Yeah.
and it was like very integral to like their war effort. Without it, you know, they wouldn't have been able to talk. It would have been dark communication. Basically, it was like a big part of their radio communication, and their overall like surveillance and listening to radio chatter and things like that. So they definitely needed this base. And it was so important that they decided that they put 25,000 troops on the island, and they put like anti-aircraft guns everywhere, and they like decked it out. And so the United States found out that was where their communications base was, and the military leaders of the United States said, we have to take this island, because the Japanese are a very, very tough opponent. And it's critical that we take this island. So the strategists got together, and I think we might have a picture of the actual radio towers too that are on the island. So anyway, like the military strategists kind of said, you can't take this island, it's impenetrable. Like they've really figured out how to, not get taken over. Especially by the Navy, because the Navy was stationed in the area. And so what they decided to do is they would take aircraft carriers and surround the island and then launch planes off of the carriers and at least bomb the island and take out the towers, because they probably weren't going to be able to take it
I'm
over.
guessing this is like pre-bombing.
Yes.
Otherwise, they missed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, so this started in June 1944, and so they had the idea, we're going to send planes in, we're going to shoot at them, bomb them, do whatever we can, and they're not able to hit the towers.
Right.
And all the planes are getting shot down. It's just failed mission after failed mission for months. And so the United States government, kind of goes like, should we give up? What should we do? And they said, no, it's super critical that we take this island. So in September that year, they planned a mission, and they used like the pilot, like more seasoned pilots, and they came up
Put
with
a little basil on there.
Yeah, right. So they came
bit
up
of salt, some
they
pepper.
came up with a plan on how they think they could make it work. So one of the guys on this mission was a 20-year-old pilot named George.
This is George.
This is George. And he was the youngest guy in the Naval Air Force.
Also, to note, he was left-handed.
He does look like he's left-handed there, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Maybe it's like a mirror swapped image, though.
Could be swapped image.
Maybe. I don't know.
But could be. What percentage of it is it? Like the people that are left-handed? It's like something crazy small.
I want to say 27.
27%?
Yeah, but
I'm gonna guess
that's probably
15.
wrong. You should. Hey, y'all should look that up and let us know.
Let us know in the
That'd be really
comments
cool.
what percentage of
People are
are left-handed. I think it's like really small. And what's up, Rico? Thanks for joining us, man. Hope you're doing well. But yeah, this is George.
Okay.
What about George?
So George was 20 years old, and he was the youngest naval pilot at the time. But he was one of the most experienced because he enlisted in the war when he was like 17 or 18.
Right.
So he had flown a bunch of missions like this, and the idea was that you would fly above 8,000 feet for as long as possible on your approach, because then the radar detection couldn't pick you up. And then at the last second, you would dive bomb down towards your target and drop the bombs and then get out. So they, in September, they got up and got...
Wait, sorry to interrupt your very interesting story, but Victoria here says 10%.
10%.
See, it's like super low. Isn't that crazy? Rico, 10%. That's crazy.
That's crazy.
So anytime
So
you
now we
meet
know.
like, a friend, like we have a friend that's left-handed. Pete's left-handed.
Yeah, my kid's left-handed.
Yeah? 10%. 2 people. We know 2 people.
It's 1 in 10, though.
Yeah, probably.
Anyway.
Yeah.
So that's the plan, to fly 8,000 feet above the surface and then get down as fast as you can, drop the bombs, get away. So they got up and they launched at 7:15 in the morning. And so George quickly climbs to 8,000 feet, and the rest of the pilots do too, and they're flying in formation. And at the last second, they dive bomb down. But as soon as they get below that threshold, the pilots start noticing like all the little flashes all over the island, and it's the anti-tank guns.
Yeah.
But George had kind of been through this before. He'd actually been shot down once before and survived. So is this like, are you like offering me that? You're like, here, take this.
No, this is mine. This is all mine. Real quick, because I'm sorry. I'm very interested in this topic. Counting how, Rico says, counting how many people are left-handed is more difficult than it looks because of variations in preference and skill from task to task. And because of left-handers having been forced to write with their right hand, but the best estimate we have is that roughly 10% of the world population is left-handed.
You know, it's funny. The guitar players that I know, that are left-handed play guitar right-handed.
Right-handed.
Because it's easier to find a right-handed guitar.
Right.
But
like people like Jimi Hendrix like just flipped his guitar upside
down.
down.
He just flipped his guitar upside down.
Yeah.
So I want to say left-handed guitars are more expensive as well.
Typically.
Typically.
Really?
I think so.
I think they'd be cheaper.
Yeah.
Because they might sit on the shelf.
And they like go on discount.
Yeah.
See, I would think that they'd be more expensive because they don't make it.
Well, think of it. If it's 10% of the population, how many percent of people that play guitar are left-handed? You know, let's say it's 10%. So like that guitar is sitting there on the shelf.
But I don't know about that because I only know 2 left-handed people.
Yeah.
And they both play guitar.
Don't. All right, bombers on an island. Let's go.
All right. So George and he had a team. He had Ted and Dell, his radio guy and his gunner. So he's yelling at them like, "Hang on, we're gonna make it through this." And they're taking hits like as they're approaching, and George notices that the plane's not doing so well, but he thinks it'll at least get to the target site.
Yeah.
So he gets there and they launch. They drop 2 500-pound bombs, and each one hits the radio tower. So they're like, all right, cool, mission's over, let's get out of here. So they like turn around, and then it's at that point that George realizes this plane is not going far. So he tells his crew, he's like, I've been shot down before. We cannot eject over the island, and we cannot eject close to the shore. He's like, so I'm going to fly us out as far as this plane will go until the last second, and we'll bail out. So they're going. The other planes are, because they've radioed that like the targets have been hit, so they're getting out.
Right.
And so they're all flying away, and
this is what it looks like.
They start, and then a bunch of planes are getting hit.
Yeah.
From the artillery. So there's pilots just bailing.
Oh.
And Ted and Dell are telling George, we need to bail. Everyone else is bailing. And he said no. He's like, well, if we bail now, we'll get captured. So they just kept going as far as it would go. And at the last second, he's like, all right, jump. And he hits his ejector, and he gets out and he said his parachute barely made it in time.
Now the way those things work, are they do you know how they? Because I know that chairs come out and they have
there's
parachutes.
I think there's rockets on them.
Rockets
that actually shoot you out. And then there's a parachute attached.
Right.
And it may have been that his parachute was attached to his person. I'm not exactly sure. I think we actually have a picture of the planes that they use. I don't remember what type of plane it is. So anyway, so he ejects.
The 52 bomber.
And he comes up for air, and notices that he's the only one that's out that far.
Right.
And as he comes up for air, he's looking for there's 2 other parachutes of his crew, and doesn't see him, but he sees his plane ghost riding and crash into the ocean. And so he's looking around, yelling Ted, yelling Dell, can't find him, but then he notices within swimming distance is one of the life rafts from his plane.
Right.
So he swims over to it and gets in it, and he's still yelling for Ted and Dell.
So the chairs come out and a life raft comes out of the plane?
There was a life raft in the plane, and probably one of his crew, like, they're dumping stuff probably to also
Right.
try to stay in the air as long as possible.
Right.
But it was very, very fortunate that it was within swimming distance.
Yeah.
So, anyway, he...
Wait, is this the bomber over the island?
I think that is a picture of Chichijima, yeah.
Okay. Okay. So now you can like imagine it.
Yeah.
It was like moving.
So he decides that he's going to start paddling because he still thinks, he's like, I don't know if I'm far away enough. I might still get captured. So he's like, I'm just going to hand paddle. And still looking for his crew. And then he decides to turn around to see, you know, if he's far away enough. And then he sees Japanese patrol boats off in the distance, like, coming his direction. And he's like, okay, I'll just keep swimming. He keeps swimming. Mm-hmm. And he, like, it dawns on him that you can't outswim speedboats.
Right.
So he just sits there and he's like, all right, I don't know if they know that I was the guy that just bombed, you know, the towers, but obviously one of us did. He's like, so they're going to capture me, probably going to kill me. So he's sitting there, like, coming to terms with probably what's going to happen to him. And as he's sitting there coming to terms with it, he starts hearing planes behind him going towards the island, and it's another fleet coming in with artillery shooting at the patrol boats. So he sees that the patrol boats are distracted, and he decides he's going to paddle some more and just try to get even farther away. And he swims for like 2 hours and gets pretty far away, but as far away as you're going to get paddling a life raft with your hands, you know. So he's exhausted, and he's like, I'm probably still going to get captured. I don't know if anyone knows where I am. And he hears like a rumbling, you know, pretty close to him. And a submarine comes up out of the ocean, and it's a United States submarine. And I think we have a picture
of a U.S. submarine.
This is actually him in the life raft, and this was them rescuing him. So
it's more like a tube. It looks like it's going on the Chattahoochee, but
right.
You know.
So he gets in and he says, "My crew's still out there. We got to find them." And they said, "Yeah, we know. We're trying to find you guys. This is what we're doing." But they later found out that Ted and Dell didn't make it. One of them actually never ejected in time, and the other one, his parachute failed, and so they both died at sea. And George felt responsible for their deaths. He said in interviews that, like, he's like, maybe I should have, you know, not taken the plane as far, and we would have had more time. So this is like the story that was told by the U.S. government to the public of that raid. And then they said, you know, lots of, you know, airmen died, were shot down, and that was the story. And that part of the story was totally true. It just was not all of the story. So the following part of the story is what the government decided needed to stay classified because they felt that it was too horrific for the public to deal with.
What is up, Spackle 74? Hope you're doing well.
Especially for the families of the people that were on that raid.
Yeah.
So what had happened in that time is there were 8 Navy pilots that ejected too close to shore and were captured almost immediately. And the general of that military base was this insane, sadistic man named Yoshio Tachibana. And he was like...
He's like a small green dinosaur with a long tongue.
Right. Actually, we have a picture of him. And he was known for being just kind of a ruthless person. And because the United States had been bombing this island for months, and taking... and you know,
a guy with just a soul patch, man. I mean, he's going to be mean.
Right. So... obviously, there's a lot of animosity towards the United States, because like the Japanese had been taking casualties that whole month.
Right.
So they basically decided that there's 8 of these guys that we can take our revenge out on. So within 24 hours, soldiers grabbed an airman named Mark Mershon. I don't think we have a picture of Marv.
He's
Marv
not
Mershon.
important enough.
And so they tied him to a tree, and they basically told all the soldiers, like, go ahead and hit him. Like, so they all lined up and, like, took turns beating him all day. And they took the other prisoners and tied them up and just made them watch. So later that night, they took Marv out into the jungle, and he approached a shallow grave, and they gave him a cigarette. And they said, you can smoke this, and then you're going in there. So he smoked the cigarette, and then they beheaded him and left him in the grave. So that later that night, as Yoshio Tachibana and had like several other high-ranking officials on that base.
Mario, Luigi, and Princess Peach.
Right. So they said like they were known to drink. And so they're all kind of getting drunk and they're talking, and they said, you know what? He said, you know what makes you a real warrior? And he said is you have to eat human flesh. And that proves you have the fighting spirit, is what he called it. So Tachibana puts down his glass. He says, you know what? We just killed one of those Americans. Dig him up. And so they exhumed Marv's body, and they removed his thigh and cooked his thigh for dinner. And
Well, if you think there's going to be like a good piece,
right, exactly.
it's probably that or like the back straps.
So they took his leg off and they put him back in the grave. So they cooked him up for dinner, and apparently they decided that American Soldier tasted so good that they had to have more. Mm-hmm. So they dug him up a second time and got more meat off of him and had a feast.
Right. Wait, is this like in the same day?
Yes.
Okay, so it didn't just sit there, because it sounds weird, like you cut off his leg and you put him back.
Yeah, well, they were like, go get his leg. So they did, and then they were like, that tasted good.
Get
Where
the
is
other
he?
one.
He's like, well, he's back there. Well, it's still only one day. Go get him.
Right.
Kind of
Let's try some more tender meat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So a couple of months go by after that incident, and Tachibana decided that he thinks that actually made him stronger. And so he thinks more of his soldiers should have the meat of their enemy to make them stronger. So they bring the 7 remaining POWs out to the rifle range. And Floyd Hall, which we do have a picture, we have his picture. They took Floyd Hall and they tied him to a wooden stake. And
why don't they do that to old Floyd here, man? Look at him.
Yeah.
I bet he was a real gem.
So Tachibana orders that he be executed by bayonet. So they took a few volunteers, and they all took turns stabbing him to death. And then,
which also doesn't make sense. You'd think that would ruin the meat.
Yeah. So anyway, they're forcing the other 6 POWs to watch, and then he orders the surgeon team to go in and remove his organs while he's still tied to the stake. And they separated all his organs out and like wrapped them in paper because they're gonna like cook his liver that night and things like that. So the surgeons go back and the POWs are watching this and they're like, "What the hell? Like, this is insane."
Right.
And then they kind of all go back into formation, and then another soldier walks up to the group and starts approaching this guy named Earl. And Earl's like, oh, they're going to do this to all of us, one by one. That's what they're going to do.
Right.
So he's telling his guys, like, this is what they're going to do. Like, I'm not cool dying this way. So Earl puts up a hell of a fight. And he's punching soldiers and knocking a few of them out and yelling Semper Fi. and he keeps pointing to his neck. Mm-hmm. And he's like, I'm not going to die that way. You're going to have to kill me like a soldier. Yeah. So the soldiers, to kind of save face and like to not risk like getting knocked out by this one unarmed guy, you know, decide that they'll grant him that. So they had him kneel down and they beheaded him.
Is that what this picture's for?
Yes. This was I believe that was one of the soldiers on the island. I don't know if that was like the moment that Earl was killed, but
Imagine.
but yes, that was one of the soldiers.
And the sad part of it is that Earl did not have to die.
Earl didn't have to die. What do you mean?
Yeah, it's a song.
Oh, it's a song.
Yeah,
I was like, what do you
Earl
mean?
had to die. Do, 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 do. Some, yeah, you guys know what I'm talking about. Probably, maybe not. Okay.
So they order Earl's organs to be removed as well. So that night, Tachibana and his officers had feasted on Floyd and Earl. And, you know, over the course of the next few weeks, all of the POWs were killed in a similar fashion. And 2 of them were consumed. But unfortunately, one of them that was consumed later was not executed before they started eating him. So they would amputate like an arm,
Right.
and then let him heal up, and then later when they got hungry, basically they kept amputating limbs until there's nothing left, and then they executed him. And they said that was because they wanted to keep the meat fresh. So the reason we know this story is transcripts of the war crime trials were
The Chicks. That's the name of the song.
The Chicks. Okay.
Yeah, it was Goodbye Earl. Yeah. See?
So that story was never released. Obviously, the government said we're just going to say that they died in the raid. We're not going to say how they died. So they held like after World War II. And
I know I'm interrupting. I keep interrupting. But funny story is they were actually called the Dixie Chicks, but they had to change their name.
Or they just decided they had to change their name?
Yeah, because it wasn't like PC.
Oh, we can still keep that name and not be PC.
Well,
I guess.
Dixie refers to the South and
Yeah.
slavery,
The South
and
is not PC.
racism and things, so they changed their
Yeah,
name.
no, I get it. Yeah,
It's weird that they're called the Chicks now.
do what you want.
That's kind of strange. Yeah.
So anyway, after World War II, they held war crime trials. So like the transcripts of those trials is how they got all of the stories, because Tachibana and his officials admitted that yes, that's what they did. So
Yeah.
I think we have a picture of Tachibana. Like,
This is him admitting.
yeah, this is him like signing the paperwork before the.
He'd be like,
trials.
"Yeah, I did that."
I think this is actually the surrender papers, is what it is. Like all the generals had to.
The guy right over his shoulder looking at him like, "God, you motherfucker."
He's like, sign right there.
Yeah.
Sign right there, man. You're gonna fry.
Yeah, so he's like looking at this guy over here like, "Do I need to?" And this guy behind him though is like, "You motherfucker."
Yeah. Well, the thing is like there were a lot of generals that came forward and they said, we had nothing to do with this guy.
Right.
This guy was insane. This
Yeah.
guy was sadistic. We were not this way.
Yeah.
Not all of Japan is this way.
Sure.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Imagine.
So he and 33 others that, you know, kind of admitted that they played an active hand in what happened,
Yeah.
were all tried and convicted and hanged. And I think we have a few more pictures of, I think we have a picture of the trial. I don't know if that's Tachibana, but that is one of the guys from Chichijima.
Yeah.
Standing there being like, yeah, we did this. And they hung them. And I believe
Small in stature.
I believe this is Tachibana right here, getting prepped.
To be hung?
Yeah.
Wow. Who decided to hang him?
The winners of the United States.
We hung him.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it would have been like the United States.
Well, I guess I think we hung Saddam Hussein too, didn't we?
Yeah. The hanging is still
A thing.
an active form of execution.
Yeah.
It seems to be done more in war now than domestically. Like, there's not like usually people domestically like you get the electric chair or the gas chamber.
Right.
But yeah, they still hang people. France had the guillotine until like the 70s, I think. It's kind of crazy to think about. So yeah, they hung them, and then there was I can't remember how many other soldiers, but like whoever else testified and was there and didn't do anything to stop it, or kind of secondhand participated, was sentenced to 8 years in jail.
Right.
So this all happened, and like George went home. George survived, right?
Yeah.
So I believe he definitely heard this story before it came out, because this story came out in 2004.
Right.
60 years after. And the reason why George had heard this story is because George, when he got home, decided that he got a second chance at life, so he was just going to try to do whatever he could.
Right.
And he became the director of the CIA in the
Yeah.
70s. And you might know now which George this is, because that director of the CIA
Was George
was
Bush.
George H. Bush, who became
Yeah.
the 41st president
41st.
of the United States.
Yeah.
But like his story of the raid on Chichijima was published long before that,
Yeah.
but the rest of the story was kept hidden from the public, because it was pretty disturbing. So that's the story.
All right. Now I've got 2 ways to make this way more interesting.
Okay.
All right. First way. Did you guys know that back in Japan there was this general guy named Yoshi, right? And he would eat human soldiers during World War II.
His name was Yoshio. But
Yoshio.
Yeah.
During World War II. Mm-hmm. And he would actually eat them, right? So whenever Miyamoto-san sat down to design a video game, he was like, I want this monster that eats people. So he's going to project out his tongue and grab them up and suck them into him. I'm going to name him Yoshi. And that's actually the origin story of Yoshi.
That's kind of insane, and that might be true. But I don't know if is the little green dragon, is his name Yoshi, or is his name Yoshio, and we just say Yoshi because it's easier?
It's possible. But I did just make that all. Okay,
Yeah.
that's made up. But that makes it interesting.
And
here's
another twist.
Here's the second one. Now, the reason why you haven't seen Japan really involved in many wars now is because all of the soldiers in Japan are now haunted by Yoshio.
Yeah.
As soon as the word of war comes to the defenses of Japan, there's been sightings where they've seen this mysterious, just soul-patched figure in the back eat a motherfucker. And they're like, no, I can't do that. That's crazy. And he's like, you must become the warrior and eat them.
Yeah.
So they're like, I can't go to war.
Uh-huh.
Because they're haunted by this ghost, Yoshio. And if they do, he gets like the ghost will be like, oh no, we have to. They keep pushing, and then he gets bigger and bigger, and then he eats them.
Yeah.
Like his spirit.
Yeah. I thought it was because they signed papers saying they weren't allowed to have a military, but
No.
okay.
That's what they want you to think.
They want you to think. It goes deeper.
It goes deeper
Stay
than
tuned
this.
for the CIA papers that are being released next year.
Next year. Along with the JFK assassination, which they will never release, man.
You know what?
They won't.
They were supposed to release that.
President
This
Trump
year?
was trying to get them to release them.
Because that is the stipulation. It's like, this is classified for 60 years unless we say classified again.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah.
Come on, like we don't know. Like we don't know what happened to Martin Luther King. Like we don't know what happened to JFK. We know it's all kerfuddled.
Some people know.
Yeah, some people know.
No.
And they're still alive, and that's why they don't let it out.
Yeah.
Because people are still alive. Anyway. Okay, we just got canceled. Be sure to go check out our merchandise over there at storefrontier.com/Roshambeaux. We've got hoodies, long sleeves, those cool little like baseball tees, and all kinds of cool stuff. Some joggers and stuff. Go check it out, man. It helps us out. It goes a long way. It's awesome. Rep that swag, folk. What's our wrap up though, Kyle? What do you guys think? Let us know in the comments over there. What do you guys think?
I want to know if y'all had
How
heard...
awful is this story?
I want to know if y'all had heard this story before, because I was like, what?
Yeah.
Like, I'd heard that George H.W. Bush was a pilot.
Yeah.
But that's all I'd heard. I hadn't heard, like, that he was the youngest one in the Navy and,
Right.
single-handedly took out the Japanese communication. And,
Right.
like, you know what I mean? I just thought, like, he's a pilot.
That is right here. Yeah. This is George Bush.
So, I found another photo of him. I found, like, his military photo, and to me, it looked...
Rico. I don't know.
It looked too much like him to not have the twist in the end.
Right, right.
But, yeah, that story is insane.
My wrap up is you know, like people killing people and eating people and going crazy. I don't know.
It just happens.
It just happens.
It's so commonplace.
It really is.
It doesn't even faze me anymore.
Dude, it really is commonplace, which makes it awful. But like, I just didn't I saw it coming the whole time.
Yeah.
You know,
you knew it was gonna be like a zombie cannibal
Of course
story.
they're eating.
Of course it is. Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, oh yeah, this is cool, and then they get a little taste, and I think there's something to it. I think that like actually like eating human flesh. I'm not 100%.
I'm not 100% because I haven't tried it yet.
I haven't tried it yet. But I think that it
makes you want more.
Makes you like kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Like it'll actually like mess with you in the brain.
Didn't they trace mad cow disease to cow parts in the cow feed?
It's possible.
I think that I know that was a story for a while. I was like, that's what caused it.
I know my brother and I, we had a canary when we were kids, and we would feed it chicken.
No.
And that bird went crazy.
Oh my God.
It would do nothing but like chirp. I didn't know, man.
Like,
I wasn't trying to be mean.
Think of like all the dumb things kids do. You're like,
Yeah.
oh, he's hungry. We'll give him something.
Give him something, yeah.
What are we eating? Let's get.
Yeah, like we didn't really think about it.
Oh my God.
Me and my brother thought about it, but I didn't really think about it.
My brother knew.
Yeah, it was all his fault. He did it. But yeah, and I remember that bird just being like chirp 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 like all the
It
time.
just wouldn't shut up.
Oh yeah,
it was
wouldn't
like,
shut
give me more meat.
Yeah. Spackle 74 says, yeah, maybe one day. Rico, my brain should make a zombie at least stunted.
If not dazed.
If not dazed. True. Yeah, you know. Can we get a grade? What do you guys think about the story that Kyle came up with? I didn't come up with it, but he's telling me.
Yeah, I didn't come up with this.
Can we get like a grade A to F kind of
A
thing?
to F.
Is it good?
Absolutely.
Is it bad? Is it in the middle? Is it like a C plus?
I'd take a C+.
You know what
I'd
I mean?
absolutely take a C+.
I don't know. I don't know what it is. But before we get to the end here, we want to remind everybody to go check out our Patreon stuff over there. We're finally getting back and going. I know. Mm-hmm. Personal stuff happens. Things go, what? And like your life goes, what? And you're like, I don't know. But we're finally back doing stuff. We're booking stuff for the next year. We're getting started on our Christmas project. And go check it out over there. Even $1 goes a long way for the shout out. But be part of the crew and put in the requests every month, and we'll do a video. Boom, bigazam. Hunya!
Victoria says A.
A.
Steve says a solid 7. But it was A through F, so I don't know what that means.
I don't know what that means.
B++.
B++, okay.
Yeah, all right.
There we go. That's solid. But man, thank you guys for being here with us. We hope this new area works out well. I think so far the stream has not gone dippy-doo.
No, I
which
think
is
the
exciting.
connection here is pretty good.
Very exciting. Shout out to Arena Games, letting us use the attic here space. And I hope you guys are just doing well. You know, the holidays are coming up. Spend time with family. Mm-hmm. Tell people that you love them. Mm-hmm. If you care about them, reach out to them. Like this. And reach out to them and say,
and make the camera focus just on our hands.
I love you.
And not our faces.
I love you, and you're great. You know, tell your grandma. Tell your mom. Pet your cat.
Tell your grandma, mom.
Okay, tell your grandma, mom. Mm-hmm. But for real, man.
We all knew a kid like that.
Know, it's gonna, it's gonna like, you know, it's gonna get cold. supposed to get kind of weird. I know there's like a big storm coming through. I think all week it's supposed to storm around like where we are.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw big storms.
Yeah.
You know what? The other night, it stormed a bunch, just only at night.
Yeah.
And I kept having dreams, like water dreams. I wake up, like I had a dream that...
Did you wet the bed?
No, I didn't wet the bed.
Okay.
Thank God.
Okay.
But I'd have a dream that I was in
right.
like a friend's driveway, and then all of a sudden like waves started coming in. And then I had a dream like I was fishing.
Yeah.
And we caught a stingray.
Right.
But then I kept waking up and be like, why am I having all these weird water? And I was like, oh, because it's pouring rain. It's like insane coming down.
Oh, yeah. I like having the rain, but then like having the window cracked just a little bit so you can hear it.
Yeah,
while you're
and you
sleeping.
feel a
little bit of a
air
breeze.
come in. Yeah, that does feel good.
Love that stuff. Okay, but that's going to do it for us. We're going to be back, not next week,
Well, the week after.
but the week after. Be sure to send us a message. Let us know what you guys want to talk about. We're thinking about doing like a special Christmas thing.
Yeah.
It's probably what we're going to do.
It'll probably be Christmas themed.
And this is where I keep my secrets.
Oh.
So... I love you guys. That's gonna be it.
I think you're okay.
I think you're okay. We're all right. It's gonna be fine. It's gonna be fine.
Yeah.
Everything's okay. Everything's okay. But we love you guys so much. Thanks for being here with us. We'll see you again in a couple weeks.